Hey, everybody, welcome to That's Good Stuff, the show where we dive deep into the pop culture's newest releases. And this week, the newest release was the third series of The Bear from FX. Are you raising your
Ray,
hand?
yes, raise my hand. Was this the first one that said part 3, or did it say part 2 last time? I don't remember.
I think it's just season 3.
Because it literally said
It said part
in episode
3.
1 they said
part 3.
the bear.
Oh, in the beginning it
part 3.
says part 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't remember.
And I was like, huh.
Season
No, you're
2.
right.
I don't know if they threw that in for the first time or not.
You're right, Michael. You're right.
They shot season 3 and 4 together, so
That doesn't answer my question, but
we should get part 4 pretty soon. Okay, so how do we want to tackle this? We got 10 episodes this time. I did 3 little notes on each episode because if we talk through all of them, it's going to take us forever.
That's true.
So episode 1, I don't know how I want to talk about it. Episode 1 is kind of like a clip show, right? It gets you caught up on everything that's happening. It gives us flashbacks. It gives us music the whole time, the same music the whole time. And we kind of see the chef's journey from like way back going into his first restaurant and then going over to, where does he go? He goes to overseas. Copenhagen. He goes over there. He cooks with that jerk guy. He cooks with Olivia Colman. And so we see all that. And I really like this episode. I know a lot of people on the internet don't actually like this episode. And I can't blame them because it is just kind of a clip in a flashback show. But I thought it was really good. What did you guys think of the first episode?
Who would you like to go?
Who wants to go?
Who wants to go?
I feel like my voice is gone. Where did my voice
Jared,
go?
I like the first episode. I like the little glimpses of the past. That's about it. Like, I don't remember much because it was just like a recap. But it's cool getting that little backstory with Carmy.
Next, Jared. Pass it. Pass the ball, Jared.
Who are you lateraling? You lateraling it to me?
You didn't pass the ball. You're just like, who goes to school?
You just threw it in the air. Joseph did the jackpot, and so we're all just like, where is he going? They're dancing, but you caught it. And then I'll take it from you. I agree. I did like this episode. I feel like it set the tone for what the season was going to be. Because it really is just about, it's about everyone's struggles, but the overarching struggle is Carmy's struggle and with who he's becoming and who he doesn't want to be and just his past and future and all the present craziness, kerfuffles. It led well, I think, into definitely I think episode 2, I feel like it led well because you kind of like, it built a strange tension, even though it felt like a music video. But
yeah,
it had that kind of like ramping up thing that kept going and going and going and going. And then hit episode 2, and it's just like, I don't think there was a calm word in episode 2, and I think this led well into that in setting up the season, so I liked it.
Thomas, you're the only one left.
Yeah, I really like this. The build up because so it has like a singular like set of music throughout the entire episode, but it seems like it builds throughout the entire thing. And what I kind of liked was the limited amount of dialogue that there was. Like there wasn't a ton of it. I mean, there was some like exposition on other people, but Carmy barely said a word. And the only times he really talked was to Sugar. He's like, I don't need the money, don't need the money, don't need the money, that kind of thing. When he was leaving to go to Copenhagen. I'm sorry, to New York, sorry. And but it kind of it really set the tone of the building pressure that Carmy seems to be having just in his life. And I really like that. So it was a good I like this episode. It's very different from a lot of the other ones, but I like this one a lot.
We should talk about the format. So this came out all at the same time, so you could binge it. I think that's why if this would have been alone and I just like the first episode on the first month of the show, maybe I would have been like, well, that was disappointing because nothing new happened.
I would definitely expect if they did do it that way, it would be like a 2-parter premiere for sure. It wouldn't have been like that episode only.
So I did watch this all in one go because I was moving and I didn't have time. I didn't have time to watch it during the weekend. So I literally sat down on Thursday night when Michael like posted like the bear. I'm like, oh, that's out.
All right.
I'm not going to have time at all to watch this. So like I binge watched it till like 2 in the morning. All right, cool. Homework's done. I can go to bed now. So
I watched it in 3 chunks, 3 nights.
I watched it in 5 chunks, 2 per day.
Jared,
I'm
chunks?
2
I'm wearing my
chunks.
shirt.
How many chunks, Jared?
chunks.
Tell me about
Just
your
2 chunks.
Just 2 chunks. Episode 2 is called Next. And we get the crew all back together. So they all slowly walk into the bear. And we get Carmi, and he gets yelling at what's his name? Richie. They start the yelling, and that's pretty much the whole episode. It's pretty funny. Carmi gives down his non-negotiable list. So this
Oh
is
my god.
his vision of the restaurant. And one of that includes that they have to make a new menu every night. And I've seen a lot of posts about this. Some saying it's not even practical, or like even big restaurants don't do it, but
Well,
this is what
I
they wanted to
think-
do.
Based on the rest of the season, it's not practical.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got to get that butter, man.
What is that butter? It's like what did he call-
Orwellian.
I
Yeah,
don't
or
need
was it-
dystopian butter.
Is it dystopian butter?
Yeah, we get some like weird, fanciful stuff in this season because there's that butter doesn't exist. That's not real butter, but they invented a butter for the show. And then there's something else in the last episode we'll talk about. So what'd you guys think of this one? It's pretty fun reunion of everyone.
It was very, very akin to like the first season. Like I felt like the tension was just shoved into this whole one episode where it's like, hey, this is what the season's going to be dealing with in the background. You just kind of have to accept it. And we're just going to give you all, this is what was it, like a week or something like that. This is what their weeks are like after Carmi changes all this stuff. And the non-negotiable list, like how many times it was brought up and everyone's like every single person would come in non-negotiable. What are they're non-negotiable? It's like, I was laughing so hard every time someone would bring it up, or whenever later on when Richie brings his own non-negotiables. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, dude. And they were all just complete,
Like
you're
nonsense.
gonna have joy. Their joy is a non-negotiable.
Joy.
It's like, what the heck?
Special.
But-
What do they do? Special Wednesdays.
Yeah, what was it? Fostering an environment of growth. He's like, what is this? What is this?
But yeah,
I like that. No negotiating the non-negotiables.
it's so childish, and you can see just their kind of like not non-sibling rivalry that they've had their whole life, and it's just like they can only treat each other the way because they know each other that well. But I mean, not that I feel like I'd say that I stick with that. But yeah, I've definitely enjoyed this episode and kind of like laying that tone down of everyone's difficulties they're facing through this whole one, because you get what's her face? Why can't I ever remember her name? The black chick's name. What's her name?
Sydney?
Sydney. I was going to say like
I just want to call the sister D.
D.
Yeah.
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 She's sugar, but then they start calling her Vanessa, and I'm like, what?
But I think I'm still thinking Sid is why. But it really lays in the thing of where she's just kind of being set to the side, even though they made that agreement last time. And I like the introduction of because that's this episode, right, where they bring up the contract that he wants her to sign so they can be all partners together. And it's like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of introductions to things that are throughout the season, and it just hectic, just absolutely nuts.
Jared?
I like this one. I liked how everyone's like going back into the kitchen, like, hey, and then Richie's coming in, and they're like, everyone was like, oh crap.
One looks over and they're just quiet for a minute.
And then I like the beginning where he's like, can you tell Chef Carmi
yeah.
that?
It's just the whole
And
Harry
he's
Potter
using her
Forest
as a
situation.
middleman. Yeah. I even like when the uncle comes in there, or goes in there, and Carmi
my
yells
God.
at him, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Don't yell at me." He's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Dude, Oliver Platt is like, you don't really realize how tall he is until he's standing next to somebody. You're like, oh, you're a giant.
Large boy.
And then I like how they kind of introduced that that DocuSign that she has to sign, and that's kind of like the whole like in the back of your head the whole season.
Mhm.
But yeah, this episode is really good. I like this one.
Thomas, do you agree or disagree?
I agree. I did like how they reintroduced everybody or coming through the kitchen door.
And
That was
the
kinda
light
nice.
that kept going out, and they're like changing it above.
Oh god. The facts this season. Oh my god.
Oh
Dude,
man, we're gonna have to
great.
talk about them because
Oh no. Crystal doesn't like them.
I had enough by the time they showed it.
Stop being such a stop
You
being
couldn't
such a
even
Carmy,
see
Joseph.
one.
Yeah, it's true. He's haunting you.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. He wasn't like he was new in this, right? I don't
Yeah.
I was like,
yes.
Yeah.
where did you come from, Mr. Cena?
But no, I did like that, and I did like how they addressed Marcus's mom.
Yeah.
She did die,
Yeah.
which I think kind of, I don't know. I kind of like that change in Marcus. How he became a bit more like sullen, I guess. He's just a little more quieter. And he's not as, type guy. So
It's a lot more focused.
Yeah, some good character development. So I did like that.
I did like when he was like, no one has to say anything. I just want to work.
Yeah.
You've all been there too. It's like, no, don't need anything. Just let me work, guys. Come on.
All right. So moving on to episode 3, which is called Doors, and we do get the funeral for Marcus's mom. So everyone goes to that, and they open up the shop for the first time this season, and it's hectic as always. They have to figure out like what menu they're doing because they don't know like what's going out and stuff, and they don't have enough people. And one of the dudes has to he could like, can I take a plate out? And he's like, are you sure you
my
can
God.
do this?
You're gonna go and you're gonna pour the broth in front of them. Got it? Pour the broth in front of them. He just walked. He was leaving. I was
So
like,
he takes the plate, he does the pouring, and he takes it back.
he's like, pour the broth in front. Yes, put it down. Thank you. He walks out. I'm like,
Oh, no, I
is he
like-
really gonna take the plate?
This is from Chef Carmi's mind. So
Oh,
there
yeah.
you go.
It's called blah 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 blah. Oh,
And then he
man.
goes back and there's, why'd you bring it back?
So
Okay,
good.
I did like this episode. Sorry, can I go this time?
Yeah, go ahead.
First.
No.
So I did like this is like only like 2 or 3 weeks, right? This episode.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I was conflating
it's
the
not
first
very
one.
long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it is like the sheer chaos that Carmi's putting these people through. Like even what's her name? The other line cook. What is her
Tina?
name?
Tina.
Tina. I felt sorry for Tina. Like one of the few times I felt sorry for Tina until we get to her episode. But she was legitimately struggling to keep up with Carmi and Sydney, and not in like the prideful way. She's kind of put this like, hey, I can cook like better now. I'm an actual chef, but this kind of I think put some doubt into her. I was like, man, like when Carmi really wants to go all out, it's hard to keep up with him. And I think Sydney's like the only person that's able to really match that, maybe besides Richie, but also Richie's like headbutting him. It's like, we don't do birthdays. Like, screw you, we're doing birthdays. And they-
Bring
there's
out
a
the
little card-
piñata.
Bring out the
Oh
piñata.
my god.
And what's that one thing that Richie was doing for like a birthday party? It's like, it sounds stupid. It's like, actually, it's a lot of fun. He
Mhm.
did a good job on that. But it also, there's one shot in this episode I was like, that's the coolest shot I've seen in the show, is the dark and the light aspect of Carmi and Richie on opposite sides of front of house, back of house, and they're both looking at each other through the window. I'm like, that's an awesome, that could be a poster right there. That's pretty cool. But also just showing how Richie's really coming into his own, how he's, he used to be this, kind of useless, kitchen like guy, not even kitchen. He was just like, the register guy, but it turns out he actually does have a really good talent for front of house and customer service. And I really like seeing him grow and be who he thinks he can be. I think it's really cool. So
Yeah, it's interesting how conflated, like, because Carmi is going after what he learned from the one chef from Community. I'm just going to say that because I don't know the chef's name in the show, but
I can't remember.
he keeps going along those lines of it has to be perfect, everything has to be exactly right, and the food is what's important, blah blah. And where Richie just came from Olivia Colman's kitchen, don't know her character's name, don't remember, and like hers was like, she like at the end of the season, spoilers, is where she talked about it's for the people and not the food, like she said, no one really remembers the food. It's who you meet and everything. And that's where Richie's like, no, we got to put this here. And he keeps having this like welcoming welcoming atmosphere. And I can't remember if it's this episode or not, but I love the scene where it deals with that table that's staying too late. And they're like, we need to get rid of this table because
that was great.
But my mind races so fast because I put myself in that situation of like, what do you do with that? How do you not make this awkward and weird? And he goes over and I'm like, what is he gonna do? What's he gonna do? What is he gonna do? Hey, would you guys like to see the kitchen? It's like, heck yeah. And then like, the facts come in, they're switching glasses and everything, and they go and they show the kitchen, Carmy just screaming.
The worst time.
I was like, what a genius move. Like it just showed Richie's prowess, like you were saying.
I did like that Richie's like, well, there it is. Cool. Bye.
Yeah, so I love that kind of dynamic of what they're battling with each other, and it kind of shows two sides. But I love that move of his where he's just like, you want to see the kitchen? I was like, that was brilliant.
Have to refire every
dude. The amount of food that they wasted kept like making me anxious. I was just like, that is so much food. Like, stop.
But Jared, your thoughts on episode 3?
I think you guys pretty much said it all. Yeah, I can't really remember much else, so
okay.
I did like this one.
So for 3 episodes, I was a happy boy. I was like, yes, this is great. This is like back to form, because you remember I didn't really care for season 2. So I was like, yes, this is back to season 1 type stuff. And then we get to episode 4, and I was like, a very sad boy, because this was my least favorite episode. This episode is called Violet. And so we get this hospital story. It's Carm, and I don't remember his girlfriend's name. What is it?
Claire Bear?
Claire Bear, yeah. Claire Bear. They're like talking, and she's talking about like the worst day she's ever had at the hospital, where she accidentally gave someone something they were allergic to, and they
had a weird time to bring that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's a little jealous of his job.
Pre-coitus.
A little jealous that he's had a hectic job like every day, so she got to compete.
I almost killed someone. Oh.
So the only other thing I remember about this episode was they made they're already on the alert for food critics. So the facts guys have put all the food critics guys' pictures on a board, and Carmi is looking at it, and he's like really interested, and he's like, "Yeah, I liked it." I don't know why I liked it.
He's just like, I hate this. This is a good idea.
Yeah.
This immediately makes me anxious because like every single food critic is like looking at him like,
yeah. And he's like, put it in a folder, put it on my desk. So, do you guys remember anything else about this episode? I remember I was like, the first 3 episodes, I'm like, Sydney has not bugged me at all. This is a change. You know how she always rubs me wrong. And I'm like, wow, Sydney's going to be great this episode. Gets to this one. Oh my goodness, she's annoying again. She's like trying to get a house because she doesn't like her dad. And
oh, okay.
This is where she bumps into that chef that eventually asks her to start to work with him. But at this point, he's just saying, hey, I snuck into your place, whatever. She's like,
this is also the episode where they learned that Olivia Colman's she's shutting down the restaurant.
Is it?
So,
yeah.
I think that's a little later.
I thought that was later.
No,
it's this one.
It's this one because I remember
she runs into that chef because she knows that he's leaving the Olivia Colman restaurant to like look around Chicago.
Yeah, because they announced that they're going to have a funeral for it, and I'm like, what? Restaurants close all the time, man. Even the fancy ones close all the time.
Like later, though. I don't know.
But it's not. It takes a while.
No, because I remember because he was like, when they bump into each other in the city, they talk about how good the restaurant is and how like, oh, I've been there already. And she was like, oh, you have? And he was like,
okay, episode 5 is where it closes.
Yeah.
The one after this. Okay. What was I going to say? He kind of puts the thought in her head in this one because he's like, you did this dish. It didn't taste like Carmy. She's like,
yeah, that's right. Because he snuck in there. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Is this also the episode where Richie finds out, or like he talks to Frank?
Oh, dude,
Josh Hartnett.
Josh, why does that name sound familiar?
A ton of stuff.
He's Pearl Harbor, 30 Days a Night.
to separate the act from the character, the moment I see this character and how he acts, I've never wanted to punch someone more in my entire life. Oh my god! If a man did that to me on the doorstep of my ex-wife, who he is preparing to marry, I mean, you're just taking me to jail. I'm laying him out flat, dude. Oh my god, I wanted to hit that guy so hard. It's like what a self-absorbed a-hole I wanted to be.
You and your stupid painted nails, like flat.
That whole situation is terrible.
It's so weird. I'm so upset by it. I want a past episode like just fully fleshes out that, because I'm like, I need to be on the same page as this group, because I don't understand the circumstances that revolve this strange triangle. I don't.
That's
like
also something we never really get fully of what happened between Richie and his wife. Because every time we see like a flashback or like Richie with his kid, Richie's like the best parent ever. Like the dude is not a bad dad. And from what we saw from Seven Fishes, he was a really good husband too. Like
yeah,
it's
true.
just
I'm like, I don't know.
But he did sell cocaine out of the back.
Hey. You know,
you
Chicago.
gotta feed your
That's-
family,
Joel
Joseph.
wanted a Barbie Jeep for Christmas.
They had to get through COVID somehow.
But man, yeah, the moment that guy stepped on the porch, and I was immediately like, ugh. Not happy. Yeah.
Other thoughts on episode?
This
4?
is one where he's talking to her daughter, and she's like, "Mommy says you're alone," and I was like,
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, also, what-
I gotta sue, man.
Why do you say that to your kid about like the
I
dad
know,
too?
it's
Like,
like-
what the hell?
Mm,
Yeah,
that sounds like an ex thing that a person would say.
yeah, it
but-
does. True,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
But it's also like you can tell that her character, I don't know her real name, Julie. I'm just gonna call everyone their real names, Julian Jacobs, but like she actually does care for Richie a lot. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what happened?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I-
It's right. I need to know.
Yeah,
Someone's
I'm
gotta tell
guessing
me.
it's his criminal past, because it seems like he gets in
Something's gotta
fights
come
and
up.
stuff like that.
Where's my gun?
Yeah.
but yeah. That's all I got.
Any
I don't
thoughts on
know.
4?
I don't got a lot. I don't honestly remember this whole episode, just like bits.
Same.
That's it.
That's it.
Yep.
Thomas?
Just
Okay. So I don't know if the show ever recovered for me after this, but episode 5 is called Children, and it's convenient because all my notes start with C. So Children. So it's closing. We learned that one restaurant's closing.
Mhm.
It is Cena, because we get John Cena who
God,
suddenly
bumping the
appeared
floor and
as the
haunting
third
people.
fact.
As a fact. It's great.
Oh
and
my
we
God.
get Computer. So the guy they call the Computer, who's kind of the business dude. He's what's his name? Cicero's business guy. He knows all the numbers. He's going through the books. He's like, you're paying way too much for all this stuff. Why do we have a dessert guy? You only make 2 desserts. And
I
he's
did like sugar there. It's like
Yeah.
if you touch Marcus, I
will
will kill you.
what were the plates called? The pre
Oh yeah,
Chargers,
Chargers.
yeah.
Chargers.
I'm
What
like,
do they
oh
do?
my god.
You
That-
You
that
don't need
is-
Chargers. Get rid of Chargers.
That is a fancy restaurant
Yeah.
thing, though. I don't.
I-
I never
What
got
do they
it.
do? I didn't really pay attention.
It's
to
just-
So what they
table decoration.
yeah,
Oh.
generally what they do is that they put the plate on that, but for some reason he's like, oh, they take the plate away. I'm like, no, you put the plate on top of the charger. Generally, I don't know
Mhm.
why, but this is
I
a
think it's
thing.
just to give it the atmosphere of like being filled, and
Yeah.
not like vacant or something like that.
No,
It's just
yeah,
like the
it's more
table
pleasing,
set.
for
The table
sure.
set, yeah, it's not a blank space. I think that is probably what it is.
And
But-
I love how they all immediately just accept that he is called Computer, and they all call him Computer. I'm like,
well,
Well,
I'm sorry.
doesn't he correct someone? She calls him his name.
yeah, I
and
think
he's
at one
Yeah.
point, but then Carmen's just like, yeah, Computer, yes, Computer.
like-
Well, I did love when John Cena came back there to get his little espresso, which I thought was
Yeah.
hilarious. But then they're like, "Oh, we need to send somebody out to get duck." No, I'm not going to trust the facts. And they all kind of like look at John Cena. He's like, "Oh, a duck? Yeah, no. What do you guys want me to get? A water bill? Mallard? No. Pick up a
No.
duck. Oh, yeah, I can get that.
Dear Lord.
dumb. He just.
It was funny, Joseph.
This
Come
is where
on.
they got really unbearably dumb, and I just couldn't
They
take
did,
them.
they
I
did
just,
toe a line for sure. I did enjoy it, but they did toe a line with the 3 of them and all the haunting, all the ridiculousness. They got
Yeah.
real goofy.
I was just like, Carmi, kill these guys. Just kill these 2 guys.
I didn't mind
Oh my
John
God,
Cena in
Thomas
this.
is really close.
The other 2
I was haunting
facts
you.
got annoying.
I liked it. I thought it was funny.
I did.
I
Think it was
don't,
funny.
but I enjoy the facts though. So I can't say I can't say like my favorite thing to say is the effing facts. I love that.
They have a scene
So-
later that's one of my favorite scenes in the show, though. In this season, I mean, it's heartwarming. But anyway, go ahead.
Also, we've
yeah, go
gotten
ahead.
several of the breaking down of boxes part in the show,
Oh
right?
my dude, this
Not yet, right?
we
The
should have
that's so late.
non-negotiables.
we should have started this with the fact that Carmi is just me at my old job, which is what I messaged all of you. I'm trying to control the chaos of lunacy, and all we had were temps that didn't care about anything and about working, and I'm just losing my mind with everyone, and no one on planet Earth knows how to cut down a freaking box. Dear Lord. I get so angry. Like they would just pile them and then they would pour in aisles, and I'm trying to drive forklifts and stuff through the aisles, and I'm just running into boxes because there's crap everywhere, Joseph. You don't understand.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like the Sutherland's dumpster, Jared.
People hate tearing down boxes. I don't know.
Dude,
People are terrible.
No,
I
like
don't
it.
miss that.
Jared, do you have thoughts about this episode? Or did
Do you
we
have
say
more of a
them
recap? Because I don't remember. I just remember.
all?
Well, in this one, we do learn that the they can't quite seem to crack 2 full turns of the restaurant.
Oh yeah.
Like even Richie's like, we're just doing one and 3/4. Like we cannot
Yeah.
break that second turn, which is what they need to do to break even. And so they're steadily losing like $5,000 a day, which is kind of like, man, that's pretty good for a restaurant. That's
A
this
restaurant,
expensive.
yeah.
But the fact that they have this much money invested in it, it's like, well, we're steadily losing money every day, and we can't crack 2 turns every day, which sucks.
I was gonna say that I forgot to say in the first episode when I first started watching, I was like, man, this show really makes you want to work. It really makes like
I
it
thought you were gonna
makes
say
you
we're in
want
the
to
kitchen. I was like, no, it does
I was
not.
like, no, it doesn't.
No, it makes you want to like run a restaurant, but then you think about the like all the financials, and it's be terrible because you never make money for like years.
Worked in the kitchen.
Oh,
I'm good.
no,
Had that
no.
experience. I'm all right.
It makes me want to go back. Just
No.
that high energy.
I
Yeah.
like
Thomas couldn't take it. He just
my
Flunked
lower back would like be screaming, because I remember because when you work on a kitchen floor, like even if you have non-slick shoes, that's a scam. You always slick or you always slip. Like the constant pressure of having to keep balance all the time, it was like, man, my lower back is already just killing me thinking about it. And those small movements, like for 9 hours straight, it's just
what I will say
Wow.
is it doesn't
Wow,
make me want to work in a
Thomas.
kitchen. It does make me a little reminiscent of working with a team, like even at my old
Yeah.
job,
okay.
which still is dumb. Like, but like you're in like busy times, you have to all kind of come together and you get to know the people, and it's very much like this. Everyone has their kind of personalities and everything they're bringing to it. Like now, I pretty much work alone. I mean, I have people at my work, but in my area, I'm alone most of the time. So it does make me reminiscent of times of like kind of coming together and getting stuff done and
Yeah.
doing the thing,
I'll be honest with you. I work at a desk and I freaking love it. I love having an office job. I'm not like I've tried going back to things. I'm like, nope, not even what I want to do.
It just like makes you want like the busy times. Like even at my work, it's kind of weird to think I have busy times, but I actually do, where I have to like negotiate a ton of people at the same time. So it just like reminds you of that.
I miss
do
the rush hours, and like you're screaming at everyone, but then you get it done and you're like, hey, we did it.
Yeah, you get that
Accomplishment.
accomplishment. Yeah.
I don't know. I wish I could go back. The desk job's getting kind of old, just sitting all the time. But to get that sense of accomplishment and to yell at your coworkers, because
Yeah.
at an office job, you can't yell at them like you do here.
But HR.
I'll kill you.
All right. Episode 6, Napkins. This is Tina's story. So we get to learn about her backstory. She was fired from a job that she had for a long time. It was like at a dessert kind
It's
of
a
place.
candy place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did,
Good, too,
accounts.
in the
I think she
beginning.
did accounts. I think she did accounts payable, which is
Yeah, that's
kind
what
of
it
what I
looks
do.
And she says she worked there for like 19 years or something like that, if I
15,
can remember.
15.
14 or 16?
14.
14?
We're all over the place.
And we're all over there.
Take
So,
take the average,
In the
16 years. There you
teens,
go.
Somewhere in there.
so she gets downsized and she has trouble looking for new jobs because no one wants to hire her. And she's not, she's older. She's not used to applying on Indeed. Go to Indeed. But I have my resume right here.
I know. I do hate that though when they're like, "Oh, just apply online." I'm like,
I hate that because then they want the resume when you go.
"Yeah, I know."
It's like I submitted the resume.
I hated that one guy that was like, "Oh, we're not hiring." He's like really nice, and then she's like, "Oh, well, I'll leave this here. We're not hiring, but let me know if you need to.
Let me know if you want to look around or anything like that.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that guy was super annoying. And then goes that guy who's like, "Oh yeah, we already closed that position."
that poor child.
Yeah. It's like F you, man. Yeah, so she's kind of it's wearing down on her. Her husband's super supportive during this whole thing. He's a doorman and he's like,
Dude, okay, hold on. I'm gonna talk first on this one. I didn't even know. I thought Tina was just like a single, like older lady, but she had like this whole family. I was like, oh, oh shoot. I had no idea. Like, I had no idea. But I actually love this episode and thought it was very needed. Not only do you get like her backstory and how she got there, but getting more with Carmi's older brother, and I like how they're doing this. Like you're starting to love him, but he's already gone, so it makes it worse. Like, man, I wish that didn't happen because this guy was awesome. Like he seemed really cool, but unfortunately he's gone now. So I think they did that really well. Instead of like building it up and then him dying, but knowing that he's already gone, but you're getting all this like cool information about him and who he was.
Yeah, it was cool seeing her go to the beef and seeing like Richie there, and he's like yelling at everyone to get their orders out, but he's like super nice to her. She's like, "Oh, you want a coffee?
Oh, you can just have the coffee. It's on me."
That's on me.
It's like, what you want, Mama Sita?
Someone
What's
did.
going on?
Someone didn't pick up the sandwich. You can have this sandwich. That's yours. So she's like crying.
I'm not gonna lie. Like if I encountered Richie like on the opposite and be like, I'm gonna come back here for like all the time. Like, this is great.
Dude, my faith would be renewed. My faith in humanity, God. I'd be like, a free sandwich.
So she's like breaking down crying in the arcade because she just wants a job, and the facts are there fighting, and the brother, I forget the brother's name. What's the brother's name?
Michael.
So he's there, and they have a nice conversation together.
I did like when Richie gave her the sandwich. She's like, "What's Italian beef?" He's like, "Oh, French dip." That
It's Italian beef.
It's Italian beef.
Yeah. So yeah, good episode.
Yeah, I think Jared kind of nailed it. We like when the series starts is like this vacuum that you're not sure what's going on, and then like throughout these 3 seasons, we've learned how much of an impact Michael had on like everybody apparently, and just now that he's gone, like people really miss him, and you understand why. So, I did like that this kind of humanized Tina a bit more. Because like when we first introduced to her, she's just we've all worked with that one older coworker that does not like change whatsoever and complains the entire time. The moment you introduce something
ones
new,
in my head right now.
Yeah, no, I got like 5. But I did like that. She did have a very hard time it's existing. Like the rent went up. And I like that part when she's talking to Michael about her husband. She's like, I have a extremely supporting husband who works at a job that he's never going to get promoted at. I'm like, that sucks. That really does suck. And then, oh God, what was that part where she goes in for the job interview? Like, oh, you're perfect. Like you've had all this work experience. And you did this at your old job. What's your BA? And she's like, I don't need a college education. I've literally been doing this for the past like how many years we don't know apparently, because of us. But she's like, oh no, you need a college education because we hire from within and want you to move up. And she's like, I don't want to do that. I just want to do this job. And
Maybe you can take a night class.
yeah, dude, I've had that like suggested. Oh, why don't you go back to school? I'm like, what? So I don't know. Also, this was directed by the actress that plays Sydney, apparently.
Oh, really?
This is like her first directorial debut.
Nice.
Just very human conversations in this one. Like when she's talking to Michael, and she's like, "Oh, going back to like job interviews, there's just kids working now." And it's like when you go back to like when I went back to college, I was like, "Man, these kids there's just nothing but kids here, like little kids,
Little babies running around.
little babies everywhere."
Babies. Yeah, this episode was interesting. It kind of started, and I was not down on it in the slightest, but it just kind of throws you into these character episodes that we get for a while. And it took me a moment because I was like, okay, I can't remember exactly how this episode started, but I didn't realize until I realized how long her hair was that it was a past episode. I will say that the actor that played her husband, I can't see him as not a villain because of things I've seen him in, and I'm like, trying to understand that you're a nice man is difficult for me, but I got there in the end. Although
I always
Michael's like, "Why are you being so nice to her?"
don't lie, I know you.
I always see him as the that detective from Dexter.
I've never seen Dexter.
Aw.
And then the other quandary I had was with her family was like the whole time I couldn't pin down the age of her son.
Yeah.
She kept saying, "Turn it down."
Luis!
I'm thinking he's playing like Call of Duty or something or games.
No, he's watching anime.
Then she goes, "Turn down those cartoons," and I'm like, who is this person? Is he 40? Is he 2? I don't know.
That poor kid, whenever he's around, shut up.
I know. But I think the payoff at the end of this episode is what made it so important, because you get that buildup of just the very real sense of the difficult times people go through. And I'm fortunate to where I've never had that issue, but I know you guys, especially during COVID, lost your job. So I was kind of that's what kind of went through my mind, was you guys having to struggle and just going job to job. Hey, I need work. And like she kept saying, I'm willing to work. I'm a hard worker. I'm not lazy. Like, I just need someone to give me that chance. And it's just wild to me. All like, especially people that I've had come, like I was saying, with all the temps that came through, and like all the people that don't want to work and aren't willing to do it. And there's someone like that who they just don't take because, older or whatever. But, yeah, this is a very powerful, very human episode. And then leading to the end of it, I think it was like you guys were saying it well. It displayed why they are so loyal to Michael. Because everyone, when Carmody first comes back, everyone's like, no, this is Michael's thing. It's Michael was the guy, he is him. And you see that whenever he, as reluctant as he was to go talk to her when she was crying,
Oh yeah.
he goes up and they just have that really human conversation. Obviously, you see where it's going, but it's just like, he's like, you know what? You just come do this. Like, we're here. We're crazy, but
It's terrible. Yeah.
it's good people.
I did like when she asked, like, what's it like owning? He's like, honestly, it sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I thought this was a very, very powerful episode, and really wrapped up well, because like the middle of it, I'm like, man, this is just like, I mean, you know where she's going, but it's just it was a rough watch through the middle of it, but very good episode. Very good.
Yeah, I like this episode, but it felt really out of place to me. It was like, why are we doing this one isolated character study? This one should have been in season 2 when they were doing everyone's backstories, or everyone's like single story episode. So I would have liked it better in episode 2 or season 2. So episode 7 is Legacy. So this is where Sydney gets the offer. So that curly-haired freak guy comes and he's like,
Dang.
run my restaurant.
Why are you so mean to him?
He is a little odd. Like
Yeah.
his approach and how he says
Evil.
things. I'm like when he just stares at her in that wine cellar. He's like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, alarms are going off, man. So he gives her the offer. What else do we got? We get the window scene, so it's cool. They still have like the mini beef,
oh, I know, that's
like
very
Yeah,
the
that was
window
cool.
on the side.
Mini
and
beef.
They still do sandwiches, and it's that one guy running it.
I like
I
that little
love that
side
guy.
story.
Yeah,
yeah, it's great.
And they had like that old guy from the like where Mikey was working it
From Somalia?
Yeah. No, the other guy I was talking about was the guy that's always cursing at everything.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
The guy that's friends with Carmi too.
Yeah.
The ones that worked with Carmi
Yeah. So
when they were
was cool.
kids.
It's cool to see those two guys like interacting. And then they need what do they need? They need paper towels, right? Seafolds or
Yeah,
whatever.
seafolds.
Yeah, seafolds.
So the facts are there, and they're like, "Should we go?" And she's like, "No."
I need a
Sugar's like,
break.
yeah, I need a break from all this. I gotta go. And you just get all those alarms in your head because she's pregnant and they're sending this pregnant out lady alone. And she's headed to the restaurant depot.
Getting these boxes of paper towels. You're like, geez,
Also,
lady, do you need help?
Who doesn't help out a pregnant woman?
Yeah.
I know. And fun fact, we have one of those restaurant depots here in Albuquerque. I work.
We have one of those pregnant ladies. Where, Joseph? Why?
She's back there.
I drive by it to work when I work downtown. So
Yeah, I thought that was weird. What was it
the-
called? The it's just Restaurant Depot. Is that what it was called?
yeah,
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, what a weird.
Well,
Interesting.
we used to have one in Lubbock, I think.
Really?
We have a small one.
yeah.
Just that little
By
outlet
Dimbo's.
store.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Some good crap in there. If I had a kitchen, like a big kitchen, I'd be there all the time.
Does have some cool stuff.
That's all I remember from this episode. You guys remember any much?
I just wanted to say the little beef looks like it's way better to the.
They're all happy now.
It's
like,
doing better.
no
They're
one's
having
saying-
fun.
Yeah, they're making more money.
And he comes
Well,
in,
and
they make
yeah,
their
they're
whole
talking
system.
about they're talking about it's like when you really need to get Iba some help. It's like, yeah, that's like the only thing that's doing well here.
I like how they
Baskets?
get
You don't
their
need
system.
baskets. We'll clean up the whole lawn. Just get them their sandwich.
And he's like, see the fluency here. See how it works. He's like moving the bags. We'll put them all here.
I did like
It's
when
like,
he
oh, yeah.
when the guy started taking orders, like, all right, sweetheart, what can you get over here? Come on, come on.
Yeah. It's great.
And then she's like, she gives him the clipboard. This will help you. Because he's like,
That's adorable.
Any other words on episode 7?
I don't think so. Not that I remember.
No.
We watched it so
Middle-
fast. It's all just kind of a.
I know it's kind of blurring, especially these 2 episodes, which is episode 8. It's called Ice Chips. So the thing has happened. Sugar's water has broke. She's in the freeway calling everyone. No one answered. No one freaking answered.
This scene hurt my heart. I just gotta say it, man. Like her performance, especially like how well she just looked desperate, and that one kid flips her off. Like, I chased that kid down and beat him. Like, go back there and escort her or something. She's just trying to get off the road. I'm like, I felt so bad during the scene. It hurt my heart.
That seems like my luck. No one's answering that day. Like my
Yeah.
my water's broken and Michael's not answering the phone.
Where the heck is everything?
Jared, Michael and Alex don't answer their phones. You know that.
That's
I don't-
true.
I answer my phone.
I don't know. I haven't called them in years.
Jared
I
never
know.
calls me. There are people that I will let go to voicemail.
Nope.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Me, I guess.
The secret
shots
is out.
fired.
I'm trying to think. When was the last time you called me, Thomas?
Never. Oh, not since we were like teenagers, I think.
Yeah.
So who answers the call? It is the mom. Jamie Lee
Deep.
Curtis is here. Yeah.
Mm.
So this kind of freaks Sugar out because she's had a traumatic past with her mom and her family, and she just wants a calm birth for her baby, and she's afraid she's not going to get it. They take her to the hospital. She starts ordering the doctors around like, hey, I want this. It's like a menu. I want this. I want this. I don't want that. Hold that. Hold the epidural. And let's do this naturally. And the mom's like, are you sure you really want those drugs? This is going to hurt really bad. So they start having stories. So the mom kind of tells the stories of each birth. Mikey's was, I can't remember his that well. The dad wasn't there. She had to
When she walked there.
she had to walk to the hospital. It was like a long one. And then Carmen's like, everything was effed up with that kid. And then she tells Sugar's story, which was a little sweeter.
Which I feel like it was probably a lie, though.
Yeah. Because, well, at the beginning, she does say that it all hurt. It's
Yeah.
like none of them was easier than the other one. So the whole time she's trying to help, and Sugar's like very reluctant to get her help. She's just like trying to get her to breathe. She won't even try to breathe like she wants her to breathe. Um, so yeah, the mom just going through all these emotions because she feels like she was a bad mom. And Sugar tells her that she was always scared, and that's like hard for a parent to hear that their kid was always scared growing up. Um, so yeah, it was a good acting between these two. And finally, Pete shows up, that lovable loser.
Sweet
Loser.
Pete.
He's the most like put together person
know.
on this
I know,
show.
but everyone hates.
Like, oh, we don't want to be around Pete. He's too normal.
Have you
I
seen
like
his
this. I like this season where they're like, oh, they go to Sugar and they're like, oh, you like that? And she's like, no, Pete likes it. And
Oh, the flowers.
that's Pete's favorite movie. I've heard things about it.
So what do you guys think about the hospital scene?
Oof, man, this episode like the teen episode. This episode was so real. Like I know people like this, and you see people like this, like just that. And they did, like you just said, Joseph, they acted it so well, like with the daughter and the controlling mother. And like, yes, she's giving good advice, but she's so frantic and she's so extra. And that's what she keeps saying. She's like, I don't want that. I want calm. I want peace. I don't want this craziness in my life that my family has been this whole time. And they kind of express it. And dear Lord, Jamie Lee Curtis, like even just the looks in her eyes and how she does her like body language, everything, how she just projects this kind of just despotism to talk to her daughter and like the whole thing. And then they, they lead into that soft kind of tiptoeing into the subject of, hey, you didn't tell me about the baby. Why I know, I feel like I know why. You want to tell me why? And they kind of delve into that. Like, I don't know. This was an incredibly well acted episode for me. And so, I mean, not even just acted, but like how it was written, how well the dialogue was balanced. Because you feel so uncomfortable at first of that controlling, like she's telling them, I just know these people, and you see her, and she's like, "Oh, doctor, did I tell you that I walked to the hospital with my first baby? Oh my gosh, she's telling me. So, hold on, she's gonna want this, she's gonna want this and that, and this and that, and then they finally calm down, and then she finally starts breathing with her, and she realizes that she has a use there, and I don't know. The balance of this was so good, and even towards the end, it still brings in those moments of, I'm trying to remember exactly what the context was, but whenever Sugar looks at her and she's like not blinking, it's just like saying, yeah, it was when she said she scared her, and just to have that moment of like they had their kind of together moment, then they're coming back out of it, and then the mom has the courage to ask, I feel like I know why, but you didn't want me to know the baby's there. And then she's talking about her being scared, and just like her, like not breaking eye contact. I feel like was so powerful for Sugar there. Whenever she's just sitting in the bed looking over, and man, I don't know. I was pretty blown away by this episode and how well it was just progressed. Yeah, just hats off to it. I was kind of surprised that we, get the jump without like a baby or anything more there. I expected more at the thing. And then to have the scene outside of the room whenever Pete arrives, and then she goes out to see Pete, and Pete's just kind of that kind of gentle soul and everything. And she just thanks him and hugs him, and he thanks her. And it's like, I don't know, there was so much there to unpack. It'd be interesting to see like a director dive through that, or the writers talk about their processes through, nailing down those points of where they're going. Because it was long, but it was so well paced to get to the points they needed to. And man, I don't know. I thought the episode was excellent. So good.
Well, and the ending scene, I think, was one of my favorite parts, where the facts come in and they sit with Dee in the waiting room, and they're like, "You're a grandma now," and she's like, "I know," and she's like, "You're gonna be a great grandma," and she's like, "I don't think so," and like, fact prime, I don't remember his first Neil
Prime.
Maddie Matheson's character, he's like, "No, you're gonna be a great grandma," and he's kind of sits with her, hugs her, and the other fact, holds her hand. You can tell that these two families have been, like, known each other forever.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And, yeah,
Isn't Pete a lawyer?
Mhm.
Isn't he? He's the sweetest man.
I know.
He just
He
deals
must
with
be
old
like a
people cases.
land resource.
Well,
lawyer or
He's the
something.
one they keep telling Sydney to talk with to go
Oh,
over.
yeah, to look over that.
She's like, I don't have
Yeah.
a lawyer. He's like, you have Pete.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
talk to him.
Pete. Yeah, this is probably my favorite episode of the second half of this series. I thought it was funny when she's like rubbing her butt and she's like, "You got your dad's
Your
butt."
dad's
I like when she leaves the room and she's like thinking about it. She's like, my dad's freaking psycho.
Oh man.
Very good though.
Did you
Yeah.
want to say anything else, Jared?
No, it was a really good one. Michael
Also-
took it all. He took all the what you could say about it.
Hogging it.
Well, also, I did like how they introduced the ice chips. They're like, they're so good. Like, I know there's so many of them.
I've been
That's
to
a woman
hospitals.
thing, man.
Yeah, I've been to hospitals a lot, and they're like, "Oh, you want some ice?" I'm like, "No, I don't."
I want a lot of water, but I don't want ice.
One part that was just horrifying, and it kind of puts you in that perspective of like her being in that waiting room and hearing that other whatever happened in that other room with the kid and everything. And the
Oh,
doctor runs
yeah.
off. I was just like my stomach dropped. Like I could not even freaking imagine being in that situation. Like, let alone the situation, whatever was
It's-
happening, but hearing that situation and being about to go through that, I'm like, what the hell?
It's like the beauty of birth, but it sounds like torture in the other room. You're like, "Oh my god!"
something wrong in the other one.
I think something went wrong. They had like a crash cart for like the infant.
Yeah, something was
But
happening.
I did like how Sugar's like kind of freaking out, and Dee's like, yeah, so you know,
Your butt.
Everything's gonna be great.
Oh man, yeah, this man.
As soon as Pete was like, "Oh, I got to go on this business trip," I was like, "That's when the baby's coming." That's
Yeah, it's like, you
Of
know, he's gonna be
course.
rushing back or something.
Man, whenever the family gets in this show, man, it's just great. But
It's so like there's so much depth to it that it's like they do such a good job presenting that depth without telling you about it. Like, you know, there's so much history and so many difficulties these people went through, and they keep trying to come back to it, and they keep trying to make things work. And it's just like, I feel like this was such a strong moment for like those two characters to really try and move forward and accept each other for what has happened and where they're going. And I don't know, yeah. Gosh, this episode was so good.
I think what you can take from this is if Pete's around, it's going to be good. You're going to be fine with our
Good
boy
old
Pete.
Pete. I was worried for
drug him.
I was worried for. I mean, I guess the mom did leave, but she didn't leave the hospital. I'm glad they did have that last scene because I thought she was just going to leave for the night after she left. I was like,
Yeah.
don't do that. Don't do that. But she didn't. So
that would have been sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it
Um,
seems like their relationship has not been repaired, but it's definitely better after
yeah,
this.
they've reached a not a common ground, but an understanding at least.
Well, they have a shared experience now, I think, especially
helps
like
too.
since going through childbirth. That's pretty traumatic, and so
You get
The
that
fact
weird
that-
story about the aquarium.
that was
dream.
weird. That was weird. I'm just like, is that like pregnant brain thing? 'Cause
Probably.
I cannot
Are you
relate
high?
to this. Yeah, I'm like I can't relate to this dream at all.
Oh man.
All right, episode 9, apologies. So it starts with some magic of cinema, magic of
Scorsese.
Oh, yeah, this confused me
Yeah.
so much because this was like my what episode is 8 or something like that.
9.
9. Yeah, 9. Because this was my last section because I kept doing it daily. So I turned it on, hit play, and I was making my food lunch for the week. And I kept looking over. I was like, I did click
Why-
the bear, right? I clicked the. I didn't click a documentary, right? What am I watching?
Why am I watching Martin Scorsese's masterclass
Yeah,
here?
I was like,
Yeah.
that's literally. I was like, it's just right. That's what I what. I
Yeah.
was confused.
So it was Marcus. Marcus is watching this, getting
Okay, yeah.
ideas and stuff like that for his desserts. We get a lot of conversation in this one. Carmi, isn't this where he talks to the facts and they're like, "Hey, you know who's haunting you? What's your Claire's haunting you?" And then he
No,
talks to
No, she's not. Wait, she might be. Yeah.
yeah. And then he talks to Cicero and he's like, "Hey, if we get a bad review, it's
I-
kind of over."
I love that scene, by the
Yeah.
way, when they're in the back and he's
That
just
was a
like, "What are you doing?
great scene.
Spraying crap?" He's like, "Yep, spraying crap."
I love when he explains that he went to that conference or whatever, that lecture.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "Do you know how they figured that out? This psychopath started counting atoms, and that's how he knew how old something was. Freaking insane."
So you went to a
Who
symposium?
thinks of something that? No, I just cracked a thesaurus, and this is how I became me. Yes, I went to. I'm educated.
Yeah, so we get that scene, and then we get another scene where Richie is at the park and he's talking with his ex, and he doesn't want to go. She's like, "Hey, what happened to you RSVP? What's wrong with you?"
Don't be a and go. And I was like, I would have been like,
don't want to
screw
go,
you.
I know.
I'm sorry. I like how they keep shouting at the. Hey, put that down.
Yeah.
Put it down.
Like,
Just
Richie, no,
carrots,
go
pick it
ahead and
up.
eat that.
Yeah, go ahead and eat that. It tastes just like what is he? Broccoli or something
Carrots.
like that. Oh,
Do you know
carrots.
anyone who hates vegetables more? Unk. Like,
And does not touch a vegetable.
What else? What else? We get at the very end, the facts go to the hospital. Oh man, this is where I really wanted to kill them because
Really?
they go up to Claire.
I love
and
this
they're like
scene.
trying to apologize for Carm for like everything he's done, and she's like, "You cannot be here. This is my place of work. You have to
Like,
leave."
Are you all right? Yeah. I'm fine. I'm fine.
I
Okay.
know. Get that checked
Another
out.
one, the other one's like, "Hey, what's that nurse's name?" And she's like, "No, you cannot."
Yeah, she told me you need to get checked out.
This is the scene I was talking about earlier, where it's like one of my favorites because they're so good intentioned, and she's so sweet about it too. Like a lot of people you could think of, be like, they'd be mad and angry, and she understands where they're coming from, and she's so open to what they're trying to say. But it's also like, you need to go, please. You need to leave now. But I love that whole dynamic between the two. She's like, I love you so much. This is so kind, but leave, please.
Is she dating somebody else?
That's what I was wondering. I thought she was going to bring it up whenever they were talking
Yeah.
about that. And someone else said something, because they said, I got to tell you something about Carmi, and I can't remember. Not Carmi, Jesus, Claire.
Claire.
I can't remember.
Yeah, someone saw her.
Yeah, but then they didn't bring anything. Nothing came of that.
Yeah,
Like, is she seeing
It
something?
never
It's
came
like-
up again. Yeah.
So maybe it'll be part 2.
And was she in bed with like a kid or something? Did she have a kid?
I didn't.
I think that was her
that was
friend.
her friend. Yeah, that's
That one she took to the restaurant. That one time they went.
I was confused about that. Yeah.
kind of
Okay.
girly cuddling thing. They
Yeah.
do. That's what
Maybe
they do.
she- maybe-
She was upset.
I don't know. Michael hasn't cuddled like that for me in decades.
Did it last week.
We cuddled in the box truck, moving you.
You just don't remember. So, anything else on this episode, you guys?
Can't think of anything else. What
Um,
else happened?
That's about it, really. Just like
That's
the ultimatum of like, we either do good in the review, or I got to shut the restaurant down. Like, that's just how it is.
I also just
So-
I like Carmi's reaction whenever he's like, no, she's peace. And he just sees
Oh yeah.
that kind of like look in his eyes whenever he like realizes what she is and what he's not. And it's just like,
Is she though? Like, really? I don't know.
compared to him.
For
yeah.
him, yeah.
I guess.
She's a nurse.
He's
I
a
think she's a doctor.
he's a chaotic ball of anxiety.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she's calm and understanding, and
She knows how to handle that.
but yeah, that was funny.
Should we go on?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Finale it up.
So, finale it up, episode 10, Forever. We get a flashback with Carmi training with it's his first job, right? His first day on the job, and he learns how to debone a chicken from this famous chef who's a real chef.
What a wonderful human being, too.
Yeah, he's a real nice guy. Really nice to him. He like tells him how to take out the wishbone. He tells him stories about why they call certain cut or the end of the chicken the Pope's nose, and so we learn that. And then it's time for the funeral of the restaurant. Do you guys remember what was Ever? I think is the restaurant's name.
Something with an E.
Yeah.
No,
So
it was ever. Yeah.
So is it just me, or does this show take place in the burnt universe now? Because like they had a picture of Bradley
Of
Cooper.
Bradley Cooper?
Yeah,
I was really like, why was that on the wall?
Yeah, so they go. Carmi's there. He takes Sydney because a couple episodes back, he's like, "You should go." She's like, I don't feel like I should belong there," but he's like, "No, you should go." So she goes with him, and one guy's there from Guardians of the Galaxy. He's there with them, and so
Speaking
they're
of him really fast. I'm sorry to interrupt, but like,
that's okay.
do you train to talk like that? Like, he couldn't have been born talking like that, right? Like, he went to school to learn to enunciate and sound very impressive all
That's
the time. Everything
how
he's
they
saying,
are
I'm like,
over there, man.
that had to be a school. Where was my school to sound impressive and sexy like this man? He's like,
You were
"Yeah, we
homeschooled,
we just
Michael."
cooked this." Why-
We're not British.
That's what
where's
they
my
do.
master class of sounding sexy. Gosh
That's
dang
what they
it.
do in Europe,
I don't
man. They
know.
teach their kids how to talk.
That's like I don't think I took in words he was saying because I was just listening to how he talked and I was watching how he talked. And I was like, it's so impressive. I don't know. I want that class.
I did love how we kept deconstructing that chef's dish, and the chef's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, cool. I got to go this way now. Bye."
No, yeah.
Richie's there. He's gonna talk to his friends that work in the
What?
bag.
Was there something going on with him? in
It
that
seems
It's
like
gotta be
it.
right.
Like,
Yeah, which
she
I'm all
really
for.
likes him,
I'm all
but I
for
am
it.
too
Yeah.
because she like actually seems like a decent person.
It seems like something smoldering.
Oh,
So he,
Well,
and
I also love how he's like all friends with the back staff. They're like, "My boy,
yeah.
my
Yeah.
boy."
and they're like, "Aren't you gonna go up there?" And he's like, "No, I'll stay
Nah.
back
With you
here. I'm not gonna
guys."
be up there." Yeah.
And they're like, yeah.
He sees Forks and he's like, "Hey, Forks!" and, then- and they're like, "We retired your jersey after like 5 days." He's like, "Weren't you here for like 4 days?"
Well, I did like how she offers like, "Richie, you want to take it?" He's like, "No, this is no, go for it."
Yeah.
So that was kind of sweet.
So the whole time during the dinner, Carmi cannot stop looking at the guy from Community. Dude, that guy is
Gosh.
Hey, what are you looking at? That a-hole over there. He's a real a-hole.
because the guy just keeps looking at him like flirting with
Winks-
him.
winks at him.
It's very uncomfortable. Sydney's there. She's like enjoying her time with the chefs, and Luca, I guess is the guy's name. They're getting along really well. They're kind of telling stories about their first dishes and stuff like that. So she's learning a lot. Carmi's just staring down that guy, dude. And then he gets up and he's like, he got up. And they're like, "Don't get up." He gets
I did
up.
like, is that going to end well?
What are the
Probably
chances
not.
that's gonna end well?
So he confronts him and he's like, "Why are you such a jerk?" And he's like, "Why am I a jerk? I taught you like everything you know. You're a good you're a good chef because of me." And this really blows him up. He's just like, "Oh."
He's losing it.
Yeah. And then so that
There is one
ends-
flashback with them where Carmi's just trying to make a dish or like present it, and he's like, that guy's just like, "You're bull crap." And I was like, that made me laugh. I don't know why. I was like, man, what a jerk. Nothing about the dish, just him. You're bull. And I was like, man, what a douche.
It is kind of impressive how they do that where it doesn't seem cheesy. Like
Mhm.
how outlandish and ridiculous he is as a chef, but they make it so tense that you don't think it's lame, which is kind of interesting. You saying that, like in my head, I picture it, I'm like, oh, that sounds lame and cheesy, but it never felt that way with them. It actually felt like intense and frustrating. So that's good.
Yeah, you get the kind of whiplash vibes.
Yeah,
from-
100%.
Yeah. And then so they do that, and then it's like party time. Olivia Colman actually talks to Carmi first before she
Very
leaves.
good.
Dude, how
talk.
many packs of gum do you think Carmi's gone through in this season?
That's
Just
what Thomas
Dude,
said
I-
yesterday.
I did love that part. It's like, oh, let me try. Nope.
That's terrible.
Oh, we forgot to mention in the first episode where the community guy, Joel McHale, is like
I think
writing
his name
Carmi.
James.
Sure, I guess I don't know. He's writing Carmi about subtract, don't add, and
Oh, yeah.
then at the very end, like he's trying to present this dish, and the guy's like, "All right, subtract." Well, then he rethinks. He's like, "No, I'm going to add that thing," and then turns out the dish that he made goes to Sydney. And that's where she kind of got the inspiration to become a
Hmm.
chef. Was
I didn't even catch that.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that did happen. Chef Fields is his name, David Fields.
Fields. Sounds like a douche.
I thought he was Chef A-hole because he's such a jerk.
Yes.
He had to take a leak.
Well, I gotta go
So-
to the bathroom.
So they have this party. Sydney's there, and she sees an old review of like the bear, or not the bear, the beef, right? She's like their old review, and she just breaks down because the whole time she's been thinking about this other offer. Like Thomas said, the chef had approached her in the wine cellar to talk about it. And at the party, she just like freaks out. She has to leave because she doesn't know what to do. And then we see Carmy, he's walking down the streets of Chicago, and then he gets a text and he looks at it, and there's some mixed reviews, and he's like, F.
Yeah,
And that's how the
it was flashing so quickly by. I was trying to figure out what was going
It
on.
was
I
hard to figure
Yeah.
out.
I was trying to figure out if he was like, if it was like just
Trophy?
still in
Oh.
his still in his head or whatnot. Like I was trying to figure out what actually was true. 'cause
Well,
it
he had
seemed very
those
off.
those texts from Unc saying, "Call me, call me, call me, call me." So
Yeah,
I don't know.
very interesting. But with the Sid scene, I thought that was very heavy because it's basically like Carmy did exactly what Fields did to him, but it's what he exactly didn't want to do was to cultivate that sort of environment and create another. Like he said, he's at Fields. He's like, you gave me panic attacks, you gave me ulcers, like you made me sick, physically sick, and it's exactly what he is doing to her now. It's like it's a rough situation. But I do want to do it. Sorry, I do want to put props to the. I love Olivia Colman. I think she is such an excellent actress, and that scene with them, because there were a couple weird scenes. There was one with someone previously before the thing, and there was weird music. They were I think it was Richie and was it Jillian Jacobs? I can't remember. There was music playing during the conversation. I was like, this is weird. Yeah, it was her and Jillian Jacobs, or him and Jillian Jacobs. There's weird music, and then with the Carmy scene, I guess I understand why there was music there with him and Fields because it was like playing in the background. But I think I would have enjoyed it more silent. But with the Olivia Colman and Carmy scene in the garage, I thought that was excellent, and just kind of them talking. He's like, "So you just done everything you needed to do," and they're like, he's asking her questions of the beginning, whatever, and she's asking him questions. It's just like this kind of. It's where he needs to be is where she is, but he doesn't realize that. But it's what he wants, but not what he thinks he wants, and it's just like this weird back and forth roller coaster thing. I love that scene, and Olivia Colman is just amazing.
it seems like he's turning into Fields, not Olivia
Yeah,
Colman's.
it's like that's what you
chef.
want, but you're heading in this direction.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Like when
excellent.
Olivia Colman's like, "What you got to eat?" And it's just frozen pizza and waffles.
That was
then
so
she
good.
freaking whips out the tin of caviar. It's like, good lord.
Wait, I was confused by the ending though. I did the to be continued. I was like, oh, I want to know. Explain to me because I'm a dumb child. I need to know what happened.
Any information that was given on his cell phone, I just couldn't see.
Yeah,
or
what's
just
going on,
Dude, it was hard to like just see words. I was like,
yeah.
Yeah, there was very mixed reviews from what I saw, the words I caught.
Yeah, because I got in my brain, I was thinking that like he saw all that, and then because they kept kind of flashing through that stuff of like him seeing ideas. of
Yeah,
reviews
they
and stuff.
did
And
that
so I felt
earlier,
like he was
yeah.
just like having another one of those panic things where he was just thinking of what could happen, but then he says the F word, and then I was like, I don't know. So I don't know. I need the part 2 to happen soon.
Yeah, because there was a scene earlier, not even in this episode, where he's like looking at
Yeah.
reviews. I was like, oh, did they already review it? But it's kind of like the same things he sees in his texts is with a lot of those things he saw. So
Back to episode 5 with like John Cena. I like when the photographer's there and Richie's like, "So how's the review?"
God.
Oh,
He's like,
yeah.
"Oh, they don't give me that." And he's like, "You're lying to me."
Yeah.
Don't F with me, man. Don't F with me.
it's like,
And
oh,
then-
we've seen. It's like you do know something.
Yeah, you know something.
No. You can tell the guy deals with that all the time.
All right. We've made it to the end. What did we think of season 3? Final thoughts. Go. Someone. Go.
I don't feel like I saw a lot of like articles online, like, oh, a dip in quality, or like people didn't like it as much. I didn't think there was a dip. I liked it same as season 2 or season one. I like how this show just has a lot of at points a lot of heart, and then a lot of like stress, and then I don't know. It's a good mixture of those two emotions, and it just really gets me nostalgic for like kitchen work. And like, man, if I got Sydney's salary of 80K a year, I'd be like, yeah, I'll cook. I don't
Well,
care if people yell at me.
That's 80K in Chicago.
Yeah,
Jared.
that's a
Like,
Yeah.
different story, true. But
Oh, someone need to go.
That-
Sorry.
that-
Okay, I'll go. So I feel like this season, like I did like a lot of the episodes, the character development. But I feel like we were missing that that episode. You know how season one had the one take episode of the tickets, and then season two had Seven Fishes, which is just like holy crap.
yeah.
I don't feel like we got one of those. Maybe with like the birth one was pretty good, and kind of with Tina's, but there was never that one episode that just kind of made your heart kind of just pump with anxiety to the point where you're just like, okay, is everything going to be all right? And so, but I did like a lot of like, again, like the small character developments and the characters that actually come to their full or that are coming to their full potential. Like again, Richie is probably my favorite character in the show. Just from that season one guy to season three now. Like, yeah, he's still kind of like a loud, douchebag, but he's a loud douchebag that's very cool and knows what he can do. He knows his self-worth now. Carmi kind of annoyed me this season, honestly. I think it's probably just because of him turning into Chef Fields. Maybe that's the point, is which path does he go down? Does he go Chef Fields or Olivia Colman's chef? Like, he has the potential to be both. So I don't know.
I had one criticism. I don't feel like there was enough. I don't like when cooking shows don't have a
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of focus on cooking or the food. And this
Mhm.
season, like, it was lacking.
There is
Yeah.
not a lot. Yeah. Even when they were like redoing the dishes every night, you never got to see what they were making.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that one episode we had where they were cooking for that whole week, and then that's like all we got of cooking. So yeah,
That's it. That's all you get.
that
true.
Also, this is just a personal thing. I don't really care about Claire. I just
No, I don't.
How
honestly,
dare you guys?
I
well, it's
don't-
just she doesn't really add anything. Like, there's nothing, we don't really know anything about her. Like when he's like, oh, she's the calm. I'm like, honestly, I think Sydney's more the calm than anything else. Like, not in the romantic part, but I'm just talking about like her, between him and Richie. She's always the one to like, hey, stop. Like, you need to stop. And even she's like that with most of the kitchen, is that she brings everything back into focus. Like, I know you guys are upset, but you need to move forward. We can't focus on this one thing.
I don't dislike Claire. I just don't really care. Like
Yeah.
I
you
just
said.
don't care about her. Like, I really just,
she just doesn't fit in
care.
his world. That's why they
Mhm.
broke up.
yeah.
Oh, also, I was hoping more of a reunion between Marcus and that one dude, the British guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was my favorite episode from the last season. I love Marcus, and then that guy, him with Marcus, was just. I love that episode. I was like, ah.
All right. Going off the Claire thing really fast. I like Claire. I understand what you guys are saying. I feel like I'm kind of accepting it for what the show is telling me, is like Claire has a history with them and with all of them, and they all know her very well. And so they see her as this. And I feel like that episode's probably coming in part 2 of this season, for the explanation, the backstory, the Tina backstory of who Claire actually is. I like Carmi with Claire. I like the last season when they're together and he's leaving that kind of Fields mindset. Going off the season itself, I think 100% the quality's there. I like the season a lot. I don't think it was the the complete season, which I think is probably why they did, back to back and are assumingly like you guys.
I feel like this is
feels like they were saving
a
some-
part. Yeah, I feel like this was a part 1 of 2 thing.
I mean, they intentionally ended it with to be continued, so that there's more to this,
Yeah.
because there's so much that isn't concluded. Like the whole season, I'm expecting the point where he goes and talks to Claire or calls Claire. He's always looking at his phone. Claire's on there, but I feel like this is such a good I don't know how many seasons they're playing. I could see maybe the next one or the one after being the last, but I feel like this is such a good culmination or a kind of like what's the word for the penultimate episode, penultimate season of the Bear, of him like going so far away from what we want Carmy to be, because I think freaking why am I drawing a blank on his name? The guy that plays Carmy, he did
Jeremy Allen White.
Jeremy Allen White, thank you. He did such a fantastic job in the season. Even though, yes, you don't like this Carmy, he's so frustrating. You're like, just get your head on straight, dude. Yeah, Thomas.
So I don't know if you could tell, but there were some parts in this season where you could definitely tell he was coming off of the Iron Claw. His shoulders were like up here at one point. You're just like, goosh. And then in the next season, he's got like his neck back. I'm like, okay, he definitely lost some weight. Because there's this one part where he's like sitting, he's like, what?
It's like, hey, Alex, who was only seen a couple episodes of the first season, I hate him for it. Walked in while I was watching this, and it's just the first words out of his mouth. He goes, God, that man is so cool. And I'm like, I know. Why is he so cool? I want to be that. He's so like, it's not like some sort of like Chris Hemsworth, like perfect human being, man, or Chris Evans or something like that. He just has this uniqueness about him that's so engaging. You're just like, and he's such a good actor, and his eyes with how big they are and how much they express. He did such a good job, because like he doesn't talk like Thomas said, he doesn't like. The second episode, he's yelling a lot, but like a lot of it, even that last episode with the dinner, he's just mean dogging this dude across. He's just waiting. He just has his hackles up, and he's sitting there like just waiting to push himself.
I'm gonna tell this guy off.
I'm sorry.
New one, and
he's doing this like,
the other guy's just smiling at him.
And it's just that kind of like slap in the face of it's never worth it. Even though you want that kind of that satisfying in your face, ha ha ha, but the guy's like just smug, whatever. I do feel like that conversation could have gone a little better pace wise. I feel like there were a few weird moments in it, but that's the point. But
I feel like it's pretty true to life. Like you get all the stuff you want to say to a guy, and you're just like, you're stupid. I don't know.
But yeah, he did such a great job. I totally lost the thread of where I was going with everything that I was saying.
I swear to God, he does that at Carby's.
Well, that is beard so perfectly manicured. Anyway, I remember what it was, the penultimate kind of thing, because it's kind of like the rubber banding effect of him unintentionally, but saying all those things about Claire and like leaving that on the table and like being like, that's not where in his mind he should be. Like, he should be this perfect chef of this perfect place of the 5 measure or 3, I don't know how many stars you get, but this is kind of like that rubber banding effect of him just going absolutely nutty in this season. And I don't know, I feel like it's gonna breed a very, very satisfying 4th season in all of the kind of moments, and it's going to hit hard, I feel like. So I feel like this was a very, very much needed season to build for what's to come. I did expect it to culminate more in this season, but I still think it was excellent.
Yeah, at least an outcome for that. If Sydney's gonna actually sign that,
yeah, that's such oh man, it's so intense, because you can see like his just kind of almost obliviousness to it.
Yeah,
of like whenever she's like, "Well, how about we do it?" No, we'll do this. Whenever she's like trying to make suggestions, like she's testing him. She's like, "Hey, is this a partnership or not?" And he's like, "No, we're gonna do this. No, we'll do that." She's like, man.
"Yeah, this sauce has been working."
Oh man, yeah, I'm excited. I definitely I definitely like the season a lot more than I even initially thought I did.
Yeah, I think so too. I did like it better than the second season. I kind of wish they could have blended the 2 seasons together, maybe, and because there's a lot of episodes I didn't like in the season 2, and just like put them in there, and maybe it made a whole good season. It's not. Like Thomas said, it doesn't reach any of the highs of the very good episodes. Even the hospital one, I think, is better that we talked through it than when I like first watched it. I think people were disappointed in it because I think that they weren't expecting this season. I don't think they were expecting what they got from it. I didn't like the humor from the facts guys. That's one thing I didn't like.
You need to ease off the facts.
Dude, they need to be separated. Separate these men.
I do like when he's alone, like the main fact prime, as Thomas called him.
Eat the
Fact Prime.
Send one to the little beef.
That needs to be a shirt. Fact Prime.
Make it, Thomas. Make it. I love the little beef, man. You gotta love
The little beef.
Just happy.
They're a well-oiled machine,
Yeah,
dude.
it's
They're
just
dude,
running,
they
dude.
know what they're doing, man.
It's a 3-man crew, and they all know what to do, bro.
Yeah, so I liked it. Can't wait to see what happens because there's a lot of stuff they set
Yeah.
up, man. And that Sydney thing, dude, Carmi might just explode. It's gonna be
His-
hard for him.
His
to
neck
take-
muscles come back. Just
Training again.
If she does sign, it's gonna be. I think that's gonna devastate him,
Yeah.
yeah.
and he probably
open
won't
his
show
eyes.
it to her. But he'll like
Yeah.
when he's
Explode on the
alone.
kitchen.
You'll
Like,
get
kill-
locked in the
kills-
walk-in.
Go on.
I thought he was
Straight
gonna,
up
when he
fix
went back in
that.
there. I thought he was gonna get locked in again for a second. And he pushed the door. I was like, oh, thank God.
Well, no,
Dang
I did like how he's like cautious, like
Uh-huh.
it opens.
And we got more Radiohead. Awesome. Oh,
Ooh.
yeah, I forgot to say Tina. Tina's episode had a lot of good music in it because you
Yeah.
got all those old 70s songs
yeah.
and then the weird like techno stuff that was good.
Okay,
Mhm.
it might be the Latino in me or whatever, but whatever she was making in the crock pot every night, I wanted some.
It looked good.
I-
Dude,
want some-
yeah, when
I
he
wanted
like
some of that.
grabs like
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I
whatever
was
that
like-
was, I was like, dang.
I was like, give me a tortilla and just some of that, and I would be happy right
That-
now.
That poor child's lunches were such a stereotype lunch with the juice and the.
Love you,
Dude, Luis, turn down those cartoons, man. We're not gonna
dude.
tell
That
you
kid was watching some anime, man. Like, good on, truly a Latino kid right there.
All right, so that was fun. You guys have any last words?
These are non-negotiables. They are not to be negotiated.
Yes, chef.
Get off my expo.
All right, that's going to do it. Thank you for watching. We're almost to 100 subscribers, so thank you for anyone who subscribed. I know Michael doesn't like to hear that, but we do thank you. And if you could subscribe more and throw us some likes and notify yourself for even more good stuff, we will see you next time. Bye.
Get ready to watch that